Moana characters into their opposites. Here's how this works. Let's use Mickey Mouse as an example. We will take each character and list out their 3 main attributes and their key colors. So if their attributes are kind, cute, and loyal, then the opposites would be mean, ugly, and disloyal. And if their key color was red, the opposite would be green. Then to see what the opposite character would look like, we will place the original character into my art robot, Craig, load in the opposite attribute list and color, and Craig will print out the new opposite character. And just like the movie Moana has a poster, we'll be creating a poster, but with all the opposite characters. And the entire poster will be revealed at the end of the video, along with a surprise. Let's start with the buffest character, other than me, of course. the character's Maui. Okay, Craig, what are Maui's 3 main attributes and key color? Maui's first attribute is confident. Maui believes in his own strength and abilities, often boasting about his accomplishments and showing little doubt in himself. His second attribute is charismatic. He has a magnetic personality, using charm and humor to win others over, whether he's telling stories or performing feats. His third attribute is mischievous. Maui loves playing tricks and bending the rules, often finding himself in troubles due to his playful, rebellious nature. And the color Maui is most seen in is light green. Now let's figure out the opposite attributes and key color. So according to Craig, the opposite of confident is insecure, and the opposite of charismatic is awkward, and the opposite of mischievous is obedient. And the opposite of his key color, light green, is pink. Okay, Craig, can you make Maui, but can you make him insecure, awkward, and obedient? And can you make him the color pink? Okay, so the first thing I notice about this is he's wearing a pink, like, I don't know, skirt or something, and he definitely looks insecure. I mean, I would be insecure if I had that hand too. Like, what is that? But okay, awkward, yeah, he's kind of like, and obedient, yeah, he looks like he's a follower. He looks like he would do whatever you tell him to, probably out of fear. Now let's see how this opposite version of Maui would impact the storyline of Moana. Because he was insecure, Maui would have doubted his abilities and avoided the quest, forcing Moana to seek help elsewhere. Because he was awkward, his lack of charm would have strained his relationship with Moana, making their teamwork challenging. Because he was obedient, he would have followed orders without question, possibly preventing him from stealing the heart in the first place. Craig, you did a pretty good job making the opposite of Maui, so I'm gonna give you a 7 out of 10. Now let's add Maui to the poster. Next up, we have Chief Tui, Moana's dad. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Chief Tui? According to Craig, Chief Tui's first attribute is protective. As a chief, Tui prioritizes the safety of his people and family, going to great lengths to shield them from the perceived dangers, especially the ocean. His second attribute is traditional. He holds on to the customs and values passed down through generations, resisting change and strongly believing in the ways of the ancestors. His third attribute is authoritative. Tui leads with a firm hand, expecting his commands to be followed without question, maintaining control over his village and family. And the color Chief Tui is most seen in is red. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of protective, traditional, authoritative, and red? The opposite of protective is reckless. The opposite of traditional is progressive, and the opposite of authoritative is lenient. And the opposite color of red is green. Okay, Craig, make the opposite version of Chief Tui using these 3 opposite attributes and opposite key color. I can definitely see the color green. I can see reckless because it looks like his boat is like sinking. Progressive, he looks like he has a tank top on, and that could be showing how he's going to the new age, guys. And lenient, I mean, he is on the open sea, which is not really what he does, so I guess he's being more open to like that kind of thing. So yeah, I can definitely see those 3 attributes and the key color, like most definitely. Let's see how this opposite version of Chief Tui would have affected the storyline. Because Chief Tui is now reckless, he might have endangered his people by allowing dangerous exploration. Because he is now progressive, he could have encouraged ocean exploration, diminishing the urgency of Moana's quest. Because he is now lenient, by being more permissive, he might have lessened the initial conflict with Moana, removing the need for her to sneak away. Okay, Craig, so I actually think he did a really good job on this one, on like showing the color and the opposite attributes, so I'm gonna give this one a 8 out of 10. Now let's add Chief Tui to the poster. I cannot wait to see the final poster. Next up, we have Tamatoa, the big crab. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Tamatoa? So according to Craig, Tamatoa's first attribute is greedy. Tamatoa's obsession with treasure and material wealth drives him, constantly seeking more to add to his shiny collection. His second attribute is egotistical. His enormous pride in his appearance and abilities leads him to be self-centered, always believing he's the best and showing off his treasures. His third attribute is flashy. Tamatoa craves attention, often using his bright reflective shell to outshine others and ensure all eyes are on him during any encounter. And the color Tamatoa is most seen in is gold. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of greedy, egotistical, flashy, and gold? The opposite of greedy is generous, the opposite of egotistical is humble, and the opposite of flashy is simple, and the opposite of gold is bluish purple. Okay, Craig, can you make the opposite of Tamatoa using these 3 opposite attributes and opposite key color? I could definitely see the bluish purple tint, which is color, that's perfect. Generous, I guess he is like pushing them in a boat like along the river, so I guess that could be like generously helping them. He's simple, he's not as flashy, like there isn't a huge gold shell, so he's not wanting all the attention to himself. Simple, humble, generous, it's all in here, so I think Craig did a pretty good job, honestly. Let's see how this opposite version of Tamatoa would have affected the storyline. Because Tamatoa is now generous, he would have given the hook to Maui, making the quest less challenging. Because he is now humble, his humility would have prevented the flashy fight, reducing tension and excitement in the scene. Because he's now simple, Tamatoa's less complex nature would have made him easier to defeat, lessening his role as a formidable opponent. Honestly, it's still kind of creepy, and it still honestly just kind of looks like Tamatoa normally, just without the flashy shell. So it's not great. I think that it's gonna be a 4 out of 10 for me. Now let's add Tamatoa to the poster. Next is one of my favorites, Grandma Tala. She's actually not one of my favorites, I think. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Grandma Tala? According to Craig, Grandma Tala's first attribute is wise. Grandma Tala possesses deep knowledge of the world and the ocean, always offering advice and guidance to Moana and others. Her second attribute is spiritual. She has a strong connection to the mystical and the ocean, often speaking of the ancestors and the importance of embracing one's true path. Her third attribute is kind. Grandma Tala is gentle and compassionate, offering unconditional support and love to Moana, even when others disagree. And the color Grandma Tala is most seen in is orange. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of wise, spiritual, kind, and orange? The opposite of wise is ignorant, and the opposite of spiritual is materialistic, and the opposite of kind is mean. And the opposite color of orange is blue. Okay, Craig, make the opposite version of Grandma Tala using these 3 opposite attributes and opposite key color. Wow, her hand is messed up. I can definitely see the blue. She's wearing like a blue dress. Ignorant, I can definitely see her ignorant, materialistic, and mean. She looks like she could kill me. She's holding a knife made out of wood, so I guess instead of cutting, it just gives you splinters. And she is like wearing a pretty beefy necklace that could have cost a lot, so I can see the materialistic like attributes in that. So yeah, I guess that's pretty good. Let's see how this opposite version of Grandma Tala would have affected the storyline. Because Grandma Tala is now ignorant, she wouldn't have understood the ocean's significance, depriving Moana of her mentor. Because she is now materialistic, Grandma Tala would have focused on wealth, discouraging Moana's adventurous spirit. Because she is now dismissive, she would have dismissed Moana's dreams, potentially stopping Moana from even attempting her quest. Honestly, I think Craig did a pretty good job on like showing all the attributes and the key color. And so I'm gonna give this one a 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty good. In fact, it's the best one so far. Now let's add Grandma Tala to the poster. It's almost complete. And next up is Pua, the pig. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Pua? According to Craig, Pua's first main attribute is playful. Pua enjoys lighthearted fun, often engaging in spirited activities and bringing joy to those around him with his playful antics. His second attribute is innocent. As a young piglet, Pua views the world with a sense of wonder and trust. His third attribute is companionable. Pua is always at Moana's side, offering comfort and friendship and forming a close, loyal bond with her. And the color Pua is most seen in is pink. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of playful, innocent, companionable, and pink? So apparently the opposite of playful is solemn, the opposite of innocent is cynical, and the opposite of companionable is reclusive, and the opposite of pink is light green. Okay, Craig, make us the opposite version of Pua using these 3 opposite attributes and opposite key color. Okay, so he looks like a little gremlin. He looks like Baby Yoda. He looks solemn, like he's going to hide in his cave. Cynical? No, he doesn't actually look that cynical. He just looks sad, you know, he just looks sad. But reclusive, yeah, he's all alone there. He doesn't have anybody. He's alone. He's completely and utterly alone, like I am all of the time. Let's see how this opposite version of Pua would have affected the storyline. Because Pua is now solemn, his seriousness would have dampened the movie's lighthearted moments. Because he is now cynical, he would have discouraged Moana, casting doubt on the adventure. Because he is now reclusive, he would have isolated himself, depriving Moana of early companionship and comfort. Okay, Craig, this was so-so. I wasn't really feeling it, but also it's kind of cute. I like Baby Yoda, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Now let's add Pua to the poster. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen, because it is time for the main character. Craig, what are the 3 main attributes and key color of Moana? So according to Craig, Moana's first attribute is brave. Moana has the courage to face the unknown, venturing out onto the ocean despite the dangers and her fears, determined to save her people. Her second attribute is determined. Once Moana sets her mind to something, she follows through, never giving up, even when the odds seem impossible. Her third attribute is compassionate. Moana deeply cares for others, from her family to her people, and even for nature, showing empathy and a willingness to help those in need. And the color Moana is most seen in is orange. Okay, Craig, what is the opposite of brave, determined, compassionate, and orange? So apparently the opposite of brave is cowardly, the opposite of determined is indecisive, and the opposite for compassionate is apathetic, and the opposite of orange is blue. Okay, Craig, can you make us the opposite of Moana using these 3 opposite attributes and opposite key color? Okay, so I definitely see the blue. She's wearing like a blue top. I can definitely see cowardly. It looks like she's hiding behind a tree. Indecisive, yes, she looks like she's like deciding whether or not she wants to go help somebody. And apathetic, yeah, I feel like she'd be like that stuck-up person who you're stuck on an island with who'd be like, no, I don't want to do that, you know, like me. Let's see how this opposite version of Moana would have affected the storyline. Because Moana is now cowardly, she would have been too afraid to leave Motunui, dooming the island to the curse. Because she is now indecisive, her hesitation would have delayed the quest, risking her island's safety. Because she is now apathetic, without caring, she wouldn't have had the motivation to restore the heart, leaving Te Fiti unrestored. Okay, Craig, this one is good, but it's kind of generic. So I'm gonna give this one a 7.5 out of 10. And now let's complete the poster. And for the surprise, let's turn this poster into a real one.